Masinya Attorneys Incorporated, a boutique commercial and taxation law firm in Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa. Strategic lawyers on point with more than 20 years of practice experience. We are professional, capable, and qualified.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me in Solomon's Temple. My name is Solomon Nizami Shams, and I want to welcome you at this time of the day. Thank you for joining me wherever you are across the world. It's such a privilege to have you here as we dialogue again, as we look at another issue, because that's what we do here in Solomon's Temple. We try to raise questions. We try to investigate, interrogate what was said, what was done, individuals, actions, lack of it, and all that kind of thing. So I want to really thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please could you subscribe to the YouTube channel right away. I encourage you. Yeah, please go ahead and subscribe. Please, thank you, Misha. It's a hi, uncle. Prunel, all the way from Quebec in Canada. Bonsoir. It's evening here now, so I hope you're doing well. Bongani, great to have you here again. Teresa, we're doing great. Good to have you here. Christine is back again. Chief Fine Babe. I got you, Hali and Aminata. Awesome to have you here. Great to have each and every one of you here. Thank you. I see you too. I see you, Faith. Ahis, I see you. Dan is saying nice palo shirt. And then Charles from Maiduguri. Wow, all the way from deep northeast, eastern part of Nigeria. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. And there's another Charles here from Thailand. Awesome. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. So I want to, this is what we're going to look at. Yesterday I spoke about, 2 days ago actually, a few days ago I spoke about the Pandora files, the Pandora papers, as some people call it, which is an investigation by over 600 journalists from about 150 different media organizations. They investigated, which is what we call like social justice, because once there is some sort of illegal movement of money or illegal, or even if it's not illegal, but it's morally not right, where you see politicians, pastors, prophets, business people taking money from a continent like Africa, which we need a lot of investors and investment, but then they move the money to other countries, to tax havens. They call them tax havens. The tax havens are countries or very small countries where you pay very low tax and they guarantee you some sort of secrecy. You can do business from there with very little knowledge. But here, these journalists dug deep and they brought out quite a lot around Bishop David Oyedepo, who registered a company called Zadok Investment. And like I said a few days ago, Zadok is a name of a priest who was very loyal to King David. Go check out 2 Kings and Samuel, and also the book of Ezekiel. You're going to see that. And I mentioned that he isn't the one, isn't the only one. Bishop David Oyedepo's allegations or information about him registering an offshore company in a tax haven, it makes it easy for you to move money, to save money. Your money is guaranteed. Your money is not, the security, the risk are very minimal. You pay the tax, you pay very less, and then you can invest in other places. But in a lot of countries, it's illegal to do that. It's very illegal to do that. Even in Nigeria, it is also illegal to do that. So, and most of these tax haven offshore companies that they open in this tax haven locations are for them and their families. So you see the shareholders are actually family members. The directors are family members. That was the case that we saw with David Oyedepo. His wife, Faith, is a director. They hold majority share between them. I think 35%. And then the children. And tonight I'm looking at TB Joshua. And maybe by Friday, I'm going to look at Pastor Chris Oyakilome. He did the same thing. So we're looking at TB Joshua. Let's just get the information before we even have some sort of a discussion around it, right? And you know that these places, these tax havens are normally, you know, you get like drug dealers using those. Those are the kind of places, or like mafia people. Money that you get illegally, money that you refuse to declare to the state, to the government, to the taxpayer, to the tax what do you call it? To the taxman. And you can use that also to clean money. So the reputation that this tax heaven has, is very not good. That's why these journalists, about 600 journalists, took it upon themselves to go ahead and investigate, because it's for the good of everybody. How can you have a man of God, a pastor or prophet or bishop in Africa taking money overseas and putting it somewhere in an offshore account, using the offshore company that he registered? When Africa need investors, when Africa need all the money possible, because the investment, the more money we have, the more we can create, the more you can give people money, loans, or whatever, the more we can create jobs, the more we can create food, the more we can manufacture items and stuff like that. So it is very important. So based on the information that was done, and part of those who did the investigation is they are part of the Premium Times news in Nigeria. They were part of this, those group of journalists. It was done by International Coalition of Journalists, international journalists. These are some of the information that came out when they did this investigation. So first, the files that they got, that said it was obtained by Premium Times from the massive leak data of Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca has now shown that Mr. Joshua and his wife Evelyn own Chilon Consultancy Limited, a company incorporated on June 20th, 2006 at the British Virgin Islands, BVI. So these leaks came out a few years ago, and they call it the Panama Papers, Panama Files. The current one that we have that just came out about 2 weeks ago is called the Pandora Papers. And before then, that was the one that Pastor Chris Oyakilome was also involved in. Well, let's concentrate on this Panama paper. So this was basically registered by a Panamanian, so from Panama, that registered this they're called Mossack Fonseca. And it showed that Joshua and his wife, Evelyn, they are the owners of a business called a company, so an offshore company they registered called Chilon Consultancy Limited. And this was registered in 2006. To be precise, the 20th of June, 2006. You can see it very clearly. And let me actually put this out there. I know you cannot see it very well, but this is actually the certificate of incorporation. All the details that was done, you could see his name is there, his wife's name is there, and all the names are there. His full name there, Temitope Balogun Joshua. His full name of the wife is also there, Evelyn Onyebo Joshua. All the details are there. So and you really begin to, you can easily wave this aside and say, oh well, he has the right to register his company wherever he wants to register. No. These people would never tell you they have registered companies there. Secondly, In Nigeria, it's illegal for you to register a company there. And you have some sort of funds. In America, it's actually very, once they get that you have monies overseas that you're not paying tax in the US, the fine that you're going to pay probably going to put you bankrupt. They don't take it lightly at all. At all. So from that registration of that offshore company in the British Virgin Islands, so both owners, that is Joshua, Temitope Balogun Joshua, and his wife, Evelyn Joshua, both owned one ordinary share each, although the company with registration number 1033675 is authorized to issue a maximum 50,000 no par value shares of a single class. But between them, they are like the major share, not just the major shareholders, they are the only shareholders. So it's the husband and the wife. And when you see this going on, just like Oyedepo also, from what we see, he registered, Bishop Oyedepo registered, and it's him and his wife and his children. His sons are involved and his daughters are also involved. We live in a continent where we're trying to attract investors to come and invest in our continent because we need the money. That's the only way we can build our factories. That's the only way we can boost our agriculture. That's the way that we can boost our IT. That's the way that we can boost our education sector. We need foreign investment. We need money. Where are we going to get the money? Do we have the money? Do the banks in Nigeria have the money to? We don't. The government need public-private partnership to run projects, be it agriculture, be it health, to boost the economy. You need money. But then if we have these very wealthy people having these offshore companies in these tax havens in British Virgin Island, somewhere in the Bahamas or in Germany or in the UK, somewhere in Jersey, Hong Kong, Singapore, then they are robbing you and I of the opportunity. Because if you keep the money in the country, then the money can go around. You can still make your profit. But somehow they want more security with their money. Somehow they want better profit. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you are a clergy, when you are a so-called pastor, prophet, or bishop, and you are involved in this, it becomes a moral issue. A total moral issue. And then you never declared, never said anything about it publicly. Actually, when all this information came out about TB Joshua, this is what he had to say. When this was made public, this is what he had to say. This guy has got. The Nigerian preacher made an official statement on his Facebook page on Monday. That was after the information came out, denying any links with the alleged company. I'm not a businessman. I have no business and have no business whatsoever. What God has given me is more than enough. I have nothing to do with the Panama Papers. This is a typical TB Joshua reply. Deny, deny, deny. People came and died in your church 7 years ago. Your building collapsed. Deny. Deny the building was okay. Deny by saying that no, it's a conspiracy. There was a jet that was flying, hovering over the skies before this happened. Deny. Your miracles, your prophecies that you say this person is going to die and this is going to happen, it never came to pass. Deny, 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 deny. Denial is one of the strengths of false prophets and fake pastors and charlatans. Because for you to accept that you made a mistake or you were wrong, it makes you weak. And it would sort of like turn people away from following you easily. So deny it. Even if they point blank, it shows that you were wrong, deny it. So I wasn't surprised that he came up with this statement. See what he said. He said, I'm not a businessman. Now, you see, when people like TB Joshua, that's what a lot of the charlatans and false prophets will tell you. I'm not a businessman. But if you go behind the scene and see the sort of businesses they're involved in, you would be shocked. You would be shocked. Because they want you to think they are just your pastor, they just concentrate on this, business is a distraction. No. Maybe next week I'm going to do, a broadcast just around a private jet that TB Joshua had bought in the state of, he was given, the money went through the Bank of Utah, the US, Utah. And then he will come out and pretend he's a humble guy and all that. But he bought a private jet worth about $50 million that needs about $3 million each year to maintain it. Do you know what $3 million could do to 200 farmers somewhere in Nigeria? But that's just $3 million is just to maintain the plane, to keep it going. He's saying he's not a businessman. They will keep telling you they're not business people. If you want you to tell me the truth of God's word as a pastor, as a prophet, as a bishop, you must be ready to tell me the truth about your life too. That brings balance. But you don't tell people the truth. You deny everything. So we've seen a culture of African pastors, especially Nigerian pastors and prophets and bishops, moving their money, avoiding tax, laundering their money into these tax havens, opening offshore companies in these places to continue to do that. From Africa, we're called the poorest continent. Our economy every time is struggling. Look at the Nigerian economy now. Look at the naira and the dollar and the pound. It's struggling. The Zimbabwean economy struggling. We could do better, but our leaders themselves don't even want us to do better. Obviously, that's why they move their monies, they move their investments overseas to all these tax havens. So it shows that you don't care about the flock. You as a pastor or as a bishop, if you're doing that, don't try to explain that to me. I don't care what explanation you have. It is clear that you do not care about the flock. So that means you're a hypocrite and you've been lying to people. I'm not against, if you're a businessman, I'm not against you doing that. And a lot of these guys that do that, it's actually illegal. That's why someone like TB Joshua will come out and deny it. I'm not a businessman. I do not have any offshore company in any tax haven location. We know politicians who have moved money to France, to Switzerland over the years, Nigerian politicians, military leaders. Billions we're talking about here. And we're beginning to see the church leaders doing the same thing. The ones who are supposed to be the moral custodians, they're doing the same thing. That is making me lose hope, not in the church, but in the leadership of the church. I can never lose hope in the church because I'm part of the church. I'm not going to lose hope on me. And I'm not going to lose hope on the head of the church, which is Jesus. But people who are projecting themselves as leaders, it's okay to lose hope on them based on their actions that is contrary to the calling and how we should behave to try to, bring some sort of sanity and change the economy of the country. You would say, oh, well, it's only the government responsibility to change the economy and to improve the economy. No, not just the government. Everyone has a role. The church has a role. You and I have a role. You and I have a role. The church have a role. Every single person. And it starts by being ethical. It starts by showing integrity, which we've seen a lack of it here in some of these actions, based on these documents that was released by these 600 journalists who have investigated these files, because they are aware that a lot of these people, they take from the poor and they take it to all these offshore companies overseas. Politicians, they take from the poor because they take the taxpayers' money to get there. Church leaders, you also take from the poor because you get from people. Some of these people give you everything they have, believing, and they don't have enough. You're just excited they're giving unto God. They have houses overseas. They have houses overseas. If there's any major crisis in Nigeria now, it will be easy for them to leave the country. Very easy. And they're not leaving the country to go look for a refuge, or they're looking for a house. No, they have homes there already. They have mansions there already, some of them. If they're sick, they will sneak. Every year they would sneak to Europe. They'll go to Dubai, they'll go to wherever and do their medical checkup and stuff. Then they will come back and tell you, use the oil, believe God. Yeah, we have to believe God. But you have to tell us also that you go to the best of the best physicians overseas. We need to hear that. We need to hear that. So maybe Friday I'm gonna zoom into the final part of this. Some of these so-called church leaders who are involved in offshore businesses, where they open offshore accounts and in tax havens. I will zoom in on Chris Oyakilome, because he actually opened his own when his daughters were still teenagers. Now one is married, they got kids, they got a baby. So now they probably take ownership. He was still with his wife Anita then. She was also involved. But a lot of these guys will never come out and tell you their business, or they will never come out and tell you the truth. They're behaving like politicians. Otumba says, Solomon, I believe what is most important is for all those who claim to be born again to truly know God personally. Pick from their pastor the words that they believe is in line with what they also. Exactly. Don't believe everything. Be like the Bereans. Filter it. Malia says, keep exposing the wickedness so that God alone can be worshipped. It's all about Jesus themselves. Vivian says, wickedness in the highest level. Bongani, this is where they are hiding the money from their churches, tax havens. Isn't it ironic how these gullible disciples talk about Evelyn being relinquished at the backs of the scene, yet his con artist husband kept a huge secured inheritance for her and the kids? Yes, yes, they're sorted for life. They don't need to do anything. They're sorted. Salam from Mauritius. Thanks for joining us. You live in Sweden. Thank you. Dixon says that's the greed inherent in them. Exactly. We're seeing the manifestation of that greed. Evelyn says the fact that they will not tell what they do behind the pulpit. No, they don't tell what they do behind the pulpit. Even if they do, they only tell you what they want you to know. They don't tell you the whole truth. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me at this time. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for giving me your time. And I hope that we would continue to question all these things. We will continue to question it. Earlier on, when I did the broadcast, I asked if you live in the UK or in Cardiff, please. There is someone who is a regular viewer here that needs help. She's a master's degree student at a university in Cardiff, but she doesn't have enough money for accommodation, so she needs to be able to get a few weeks some sort of help with accommodation. I know it's difficult. It's the UK. So if you know anyone in Cardiff that could help, or you yourself you live in Cardiff, please reach out to me so we can help her. It's important that we get to help each other. So thank you so much. May the Lord bless you. May His goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your life. Thank you. Have a good day.
Masinya Attorneys Incorporated, a boutique commercial and taxation law firm in Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa. Strategic lawyers on point with more than 20 years of practice experience. We are professional, capable, and qualified.